Good, good afternoon, team.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you,
Good
Hallie?
evening.
Very fine, thank you.
Good.
How are you?
Uh,
Very
we've
good.
we've got some an exciting topic tonight. I think we touched on it a few times last year as well. I touched on this on Director and Leader Council today, but it is the process of having somebody say yes. It's a process of creating more value than what you ask for in money. Let me give you a very simple example. If I say to, let's use Lars Vidar as my example. Lars Vidar, do you have 100 kroners?
Yes, I
Would
have.
you like to trade it with me for 50 kroners?
Sounds like a bad deal for me.
Would you like it to trade it with me for 70 kroners?
Still too low.
Could we exchange it at 100?
Fair enough.
And you have to have equal value to what you ask for in money, in their opinion, to be able to make an exchange. Now, let's try with Kurt instead. Hi, Kurt. Do
Hi.
you have 10 euros?
Yes.
Would you like to trade it with me for 20 euros?
Yes.
So I immediately got a yes when I delivered a lot more value than what I asked for. And when we do a presentation, if it's for the product or if it's for the business, it's the people that sell easily, they create value so that the customer feels that when they're buying, they're spending less money than what they normally should spend to get the value that they're getting. They see it as a good deal. I did give you guys the example from my Louis Vuitton shopping, did I? No, okay, I forgot that. I thought I shared it before, but I'll share the story. So I've just been and picked up some shoes from Louis Vuitton, and then on my way home, I had to meet a team that was visiting from Poland, and they'd been to Vitas and so on. And I had my bag, and then they were saying that, well, balance oil is expensive in Poland. So I put my bag up on the table and said that, so this is my Louis Vuitton shoes, and I got them for 100 euros today. And then they looked at me and they said, no, that's not possible. And for those that know what a pair of Louis Vuitton shoe costs, they're insanely expensive. They're like 1,200 euros or something like that. 1,000 euros. I don't know exactly what I paid. And I said, I got them from 100 euros. And I said, no, that's not possible. And I said, that is very possible. I paid 100 euros for the shoes and 900 euros for the brand. So when you talk about creating a value of a product, is really the value of the brand we're talking about creating. And that will make people overpay, just like me, an idiot, 9 times or 10 times more than what I could get a similar pair of shoes for. Just wouldn't be Louis Vuitton. It would be a different brand, a cheaper brand. So that is also what we do when we do direct selling, is that we create the value that makes the customer happy to buy. Now, on the customer side, I think most of you are pretty good because the test in and of itself creates so much value. Getting the answer to your health status of the health status of your cells, that is an incredible answer to have. Presented correctly, people will crave to get the test result. And when you then can make it nearly free, when they go on to a subscription and the second test becomes completely free, no, all of a sudden the test becomes very cheap. And if you then present the balance oil as a less than 50 euro a month solution, 42 euros per month solution, that outbeats any other product in the marketplace, and that beats products that would be 100 or 200 euros a month, then everyone is seeing the value in the product. So when you do your presentation, how good are you at creating the value? That determines which kind of closing rate you have with your prospects. So a part of my story that I always tell is that I used omega-3s for about 80 euros a month. I ate fish every day and I failed the test. Then I switched to this product, ate fish a couple of times a week, spent 42 euros a month, and in 4 months I improved my result 500%, and I was proven by a second test. Would you like to try the product? I didn't do any health claims even. I just did what I did, my story of how effective the product is. And all of a sudden it becomes very valuable because it's more valuable than eating fish every day, which costs a lot of money. And is more valuable than products that cost 80 euros a month. And it comes proven with a result. So I can 100% trust the other person. Now, if I, in addition to that, would add some of the benefits to it or what it does, either like benefits, function mechanism benefits, the flexibility of the cell membrane, or that you're in the optimal mode to lose weight, or that you're in the optimal mode for skin health, or that you're in the optimal mode for joint health, I could add different other values to it, or that it is by all science. Look everywhere you want. The combination of fish oil studies, olive oil studies, vitamin D3 studies, and vitamin E studies are all top-rated studies and ingredients that are, if you take the top 10 ingredients for heart health, all 4 of them ends up being in the top 10, and 3 of them ends up being in the top 3. Only vitamin E is a little bit down the list. So to protect your heart, there is no product in the world that gives you more value for the money you spend than the Cincino Balance Oil. And to protect your cardiovascular system, there is no product on the planet that gives you more value for the money you spend than the Balance Oil. So if I've gone through a few of those things and now I tell them that normally a test is 170 euros, you need 2 of them. The normal price of the oil is like close to 70 euros, but I can discount it for you if you commit 6 months to your health to change your life. I can give the test and 2 oils to you for 200 euros, and then I can discount the oil down to 42 euros per month, and then I'll give you a free test in month number 5. Would you like to try the offer? And then I will get a very high closing rate. Moving over to the partner presentation, you have the pipeline. You have the first step is prospecting, then add to your list, then contacting. If a prospect doesn't say yes to a meeting, it only means that we didn't create enough value for them to spend 45 minutes together with us. That's all it means. If you call them back and create more value, they're going to be willing to spend the 45 minutes. If a person that gets a first presentation does come to a second presentation, it just means that we didn't create enough value. And if a person that came to a third meeting, a decision meeting, doesn't say yes, it just means that we didn't create enough value. If a person that is getting started doesn't book any meetings, it just means that we didn't create enough value. If the team meetings aren't getting packed up, just means that we aren't creating enough value. If the BPSs aren't filled out and all the people show up, just means that we don't give enough value. And if the event doesn't excite people, it just means that we didn't get enough value. So I had a discussion, I think it was last week, with 2 of my president teams. So I had 2 presidents team on. And we talked about a group, I think it was a group in England. It was a group in England. And one of the president's team said to me, well, I'm trying to go there, but they say that they will not have enough people show up. And I go to the other president's team. So how do we solve that? And he says, well, no matter what, we go and they have to show up. So don't give them an option of canceling. Another one went, that's a good idea. And I said, here's what I would do. I'd call her up and say that, hey, I'm bringing Taylor Swift. How many do you think can come to the dinner? How many do you think I'll get to the dinner if she's going to entertain? I mean, even Christopher Tomren would consider coming to England with me. Because it would be unique that she is singing on a private Cincino dinner, you agree? Would be a good story. So even him that is not a Swiftie fan, at least not as we know, but they are women in the classic Swiftie group in England, which means that they're completely crazy. So why did it change? Well, it changed because I created more value. And now after she would answer that question, I would say, okay, so how do we can't have Taylor Swift, but what value can we create for the people so that they want to come and meet us? And that's the true conversation. Create more value, and it's easy to invite and it's easy to sign people up. So now, if we can't get people to a meeting, it just means that we didn't use a tool or a pre-approach tool well enough to have them come to the meeting. So maybe you sent them Hilda's global megatrend film, but you just sent the film instead of saying, I'm going to send you a film of our founder. If what she says in that video is true, Cincino will become one of the companies on the planet that becomes as famous as company like Facebook, like Tesla, and like other famous companies. So watch the video, and then I'm going to explain you how you can be a part of it and why this is the time to act. Now, that's a different way of sending out the tool. They watch the 7 minute, they hear about the iPhone or about the electric car and about the things that have changed so they can recognize that. And then she talks about how test-based nutrition will overtake nutrition and how we truly believe that when 2% of the Norwegian population is tested, we can do 3, we can do 4, we can do 5, we can do 6. Because if we have done 1, we can do 2, and we already did 2. And if you've done 2, you can do 3. And if you've done 3, you can do 4. Do you agree on that? This is pure logic. The more you have tested, the faster it will go. That's just the law of inertia. That in the beginning is very few people talking about it, then it's more and more and more. And at one point, there is no resistance. If we can do 2% in Norway, could it be possible that we could do 2% in Sweden?
Yes,
Absolutely,
yes,
100% yes. And we already did 1%. Could we do 2% in Finland?
absolutely.
100%. Could we do 2% in Germany? Could we do 2% in the United States? Could we do 2% in the entire world? Well, if that's true, that's 160 million test result. And by that time, we'll be close to 100 million customers. And we'll do 40 billion euros in sales. Now, do you think that your friend could be interested in joining a business that is going to grow from today's level, is going to grow 100 times? Do you think that they could be interested in being a part of that business? Now, if that's the conversation that we end up having after they watch the video, then all of a sudden they see that this is a viable business. If you then present the product right, if you then present the compensation plan, and then at the closing, you say, here's the thing. It's about 3,000 euros to get started. That's the product that is in the ultimate kit. But we can give you a discount when you start with a business. We give you a discount down to 1,200. You've got 10 test kits in it. You've got oils, you've got products that you need. And it comes with a very unique offering. And that is that after 12 months, you're going to get 100% of the money back if you achieve 25 customer points. It's 25 people or 25 products sold to 5 or 10 or 25 people per month. Plus, if you achieve the 1,200 euros back, you've also gotten 2,000 euros in commissions, and you're now making residual every month, a free product on out order, 100 euros to go shopping for, and 100 euros deposited to your bank account, plus a little bit of change. And I promise you, Hallie, that if you book the meetings, I'm going to do as many presentations as needed to get the customers that you need to get this offer. Would you like to try that together with me?
Yes.
And if I present it like that, a lot of people are going to say yes, because I created value. What value did I create? Well, I created a big vision to begin with, from the pre-approach to talking about the market potential. That's a big vision. That's value. You can be a part of a company that grows into something very big. I created value when I presented the product. I created value when I showed them the compensation plan, because when you show just the graph of the different titles, you don't even need to show more than that. The graph of different titles, they can see it's possible here to make more money than in my own job. I always ask them, what kind of income level would be enough for you to quit your job? Most people say somewhere between 7 and 12,000 euros a month. And then I said, how would it change your life if you double that? And most people only need to go up 1 or 2 ranks to double what they make in their normal job. And now I created value because there is an opportunity where you can break free and where you can really go out and do something that no one else in your family or very few people in your family have done. And then I created value on the closing. And before that, I created some value in the system too. So everything I do during a presentation or during the conversation is to create value to where when I ask them for 1,200 euros, I want them to have the feeling that, wow, I got into this business very affordable. This was not a big investment. To start a business like this for 1,200 euros, I get money for product for everything that I can retail for more and that I can use to get 25 customers to get my money back. That's an incredible value. I'm going to say yes. And then it came also with me personally, or the prospect personally promising them to help them do the work to get to 25 customers. So they didn't even need to do the work themselves. They could simply go together with Lars Vidar and he'd do the work together with them. Now, if the entire team becomes good at creating value this way, the closing rate goes up. Then the booking rate of new meetings goes up. Then the closing rate continues to go up, and we get an enormous surge of new meetings, and it becomes a momentum. And that's how you launch your business this year into an absolute full-out momentum to reach the goals and the plans that you were writing at the beginning of this year. So that was my subject today. If there is any questions, I've got a few more minutes. And after that, I'm going to find my treadmill.
I know there is new people. There is, for example, Iliana from Spain. Welcome here. And there is Aurora from Norway. And I don't know, there might be some new. So do any new people has any question for Ørjan? Do you want to ask? No? Okay. Yes, I think this was very nice because this was a little bit more also about the basics. So thank you so much. Yes, we have one. Yeah, Pinja, you can ask. Yes.
Yeah, it's not to ask, but it's now as a new person, it's very nice, Ørjan, that you take this like this point of view or perspective on the value. Because, for example, me personally, I have been always, for example, if I've been selling or offering something to somebody, I've been always putting the lowest price to it, and that's not a good idea.
No, it is if you give the discount immediately, people felt that they paid full price.
Yeah. So I love now to see the perspective with new eyes. You opened such a big door for me now. I'm gonna change everything from now on. What you teach us today.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for the feedback. And I always say start with the full price, then discount it down to the discounted price because then people see the difference. And yes, we have that as a part of our system where we give this to most people. But there is 5% of our products that is actually sold at the full price because some people just don't want to commit to a subscription.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know there is Pinja, and there are some other people who are also quite young, like 20 years and so on. And you have started this career quite young, correct? So how do you see the potential with direct selling for young people? If you look, your history, because I remember you were very young when you started.
Yeah, you were also very young when you started.
I was already 29,
I know, and that's
Yeah.
very young. That's very young today.
Yeah.
No, but Lars Vidar was young when he started. Daniel was young when he started. I mean, I was 17 when I started, so this is most definitely a profession that fits for young people. I just finished a call in the US with over 500 people, where the average age is probably around 30 on that group. So they're all very young. So young is young or old doesn't really matter. What matters is that we learn the presentation, we learn how to present the offer. Now, if people are young, you maybe don't talk about the balanced soil as the optimal product for strong bones. That's very attractive in your 70s and 80s because if you have weak bones, you die too young. And that's one of the number one problems for women to live a long life is the weakening of the bones. And this does something with that, the health protocol, which is incredible. But you don't think about that when you're 22. But what you do think about is that this is the optimal mode to stay slim. This is the optimal mode to sleep well. This is the optimal mode for recovery after sports. Daniel can testify to that as a semi-professional, professional athlete for most of his life, semi-professional still. This is the optimal mode for beautiful skin. There is no product out there that gives you more anti-aging at 42 euros a month than the Balance Oil. So that's something that people are interested in. And I could keep on for reproduction, fertility, optimal mode for that. And I could keep on going on how this affects every part of that young person's life. Uh, and it's about creating value in the area where they are interested. This is the best food that you can give to a baby. This is the best food for a toddler. It's one of the critical things that they need for brain development. That's an EFSA claim. For their neurodevelopment, that's an EFSA claim. For their eye development, that's an EFSA claim. This is the optimal mode for so many things in our life that is critical at all ages. And now I just presented it to a young person.
Yes, thank you. And if you look at the business side, do you have any what you're pointing? Because I know that there is a president like Michael
No, but
Stubbler.
if you get a normal education, be it a lawyer, be it a doctor, be it a teacher, be it a nurse, be it whatever you would say is a normal education, depends on electrician, plumber. So normal education, there is a range of incomes that is normal to make for each education. If you look at that range in most countries, depending on where you live in Europe, it will go from a few thousand a month to 10 or 15,000 a month. then if you want to go beyond that, even if you're a lawyer, you have to take on special responsibility and be extraordinary. Even as a doctor, to make more than 15,000, you got to be special. You got to take on special responsibility and be very good at what you do. If you want to go to 30,000 a month, you got to be super special. Now, with this product in your 20s and your 30s, you can go make 20, 30, 40,000. It's just about how many people do you involve in your team and how many products do we have in subscription. So it's completely possible to outperform all of those professions that are out there. So if you're an entrepreneurial spirit, then you will eventually end up like many other people, not feel at home in your job, then this is a much better choice. And you can get much further, make a lot more in this than anything else. Then it gives meaning, but it only gives meaning if you give meaning to it. So you got to learn how to present the product to people and which value it gives to people. So it becomes fun and you help people when you build a business. And then you've got to become very good at creating value in the business and creating duplication of the things that you learned. Then you can go all the way to the top of the comp plan. And it's going to be absolutely amazing for you in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s and your 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s when they come eventually, one day, long, long time into the future. Anything else? Then we call it a night. Strong month closing. ECBX, get to a new rank, get your customers, get your products for free, get to A team, do the things that is needed to move your business going forward. Thank you. Bye bye.